my last dental consultation, that dentist said, well, after looking at your teeth, you've got 1.5 years work to get your teeth okay. I interpreted that as that's just a dentist way getting money out of me.
Today, I'm joined by Duncan, who's had dental implants for 3 years now. He's going to reveal 3 big secrets that no one told him about the cost of dental implants, things that you should know before getting them yourself.
Wait until you hear secret number 1. That one shocked me the most.
So before we dive in, I know those watching might be thinking, what is the cost of dental implants? And you can check out the dental implant cost guide in the description below. Let's go ahead and start with number 3, dental implant consultations. So the secret about the dental implant consultations is that they can vary on cost depending on where you go. So Duncan, can you talk about, the place you went? How much was that consultation and what was kind of involved in that process?
I didn't put a dime down. They did these x-rays of mine, and again, I'm standing in a machine I've never stood in before. They tell me to do this, that, and the other. Once it's done, I look at the pictures they're showing us. Oh my gosh, they took x-rays of my whole head. I had one of those moments so quickly, and here I am 3.5 years later, and that hadn't left me.
Wow, it's been 3.5 now.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, let's move on to secret number 2 then, which is hidden cost of dental implants. So is it true that depending on where you go, there may be hidden costs associated with dental implants?
Well, the figure that was given to me at Nuvia, I don't think in the moment I understood that it was all inclusive. I'm learning for the first time all that they're going to do. So I'm going to have 24 teeth pulled in one setting, and then the next day I'm going to have full dental implants put in my mouth. I accepted Nuvia's honesty immediately, and I had nothing but a lifetime of dishonesty from dental work. So they're explaining things, and even they talked about sedation, and again, I've been put under for different things in my life, never for teeth. I typically, when you have a tooth pulled, they stick your mouth about 6 times with some needle that really hurts bad, and then you hope it lasts long enough for them to do whatever they're doing. The idea that I'm going to be sedated and I'm not going to have to worry about any pain. And oh, by the way, they're bringing the person in to my surgery, and that's all that person is doing, is watching over me and making sure I don't wake up in the middle of it and go, ouch, this hurts. The night before I go in to get my teeth pulled, this person calls me on the phone and talks about the process and what's going to happen, and is reassuring and comforting, again, just the way I had experienced Nuvia from the start. And by the time that conversation was ended, I didn't have this impending fear that something was going to go wrong. I trusted these people. I believed them. And Nuvia truly cared about me.
Right. And so, in other places, there could be where, hey, this sedation charge, the anesthesia might be a separate fee, or, maybe they are charging for other things like maybe appointments or something goes wrong. So are you saying that Nuvia it covered all that within that one fee? Is that how it went?
There was never the surprise moment. Oh, by the way, we forgot to mention that tomorrow when you come back to get your implants, that's going to cost you a little more, because the price we told you was only going to be for taking the teeth out, or the sedation was a little longer than we thought it would be. So we're going to have to up the cost of that. None of that. And I'm telling you, that's a staggering concept, um, because I got the figure one time and it never swayed.
Sounds like that would help with peace of mind in a way, But I also want to ask, since you said there is one flat fee, it's all inclusive. I'm sure people are also wondering, are there ways to finance this, like payment plans? Did you Can you talk a little bit about that in your case? Were there options like that?
One of the things they did when I first came in, and I wasn't really even aware of what we were doing, and what I was doing was I was talking to somebody about my finances. And my sweet wife's response was, "Let's get it done." And so we paid on it for 6 months. We took a payment plan that we could afford. And after 6 months, I thought, I have a mortgage. And so I just put it into my mortgage, and I'm paying on it without any extra. There's nothing going on that brought my level of cost up to where I'm going, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can afford this. It just fell into place. My nature is one that when something's right, things fall into place far beyond my understanding if I just get out of the way. And I
Absolutely.
think that's true for anybody that walks through the Nuvia door. Nuvia again proved the point that what they cared about was me. And
Mhm.
can I afford this wonderful treatment? And oh, by the way, this is all it's going to cost. We're not going to come back and charge you a little more just because. No. And that information is in that booklet Nuvia gives you to give you a very clear roundabout cost, because this is an honest company, at least from where I stand.
And if you want that guide that Duncan was talking about, you can get that in the description below. Let's talk about the biggest secret you uncovered about the cost of dental implants. And you already briefly touched on this, but it's the dental implant timeline, right? So there are other dental implant processes that may have you in a temporary set of teeth for up to 10 plus months, which could require many appointments to figure final set. And who really knows what hidden fees may be included in that? So, Duncan, I'm curious to know how your dental implant process was different. Let's dive into, what is that 24 hours that you mentioned earlier?
The biggest selling point, other than the kindness of the folks at Nuvia, was the 24-hour. Coming from a dentist that had just explained I was going to spend way too much time in her chair, to 24 hours. Again, in my particular case, 24 teeth pulled. They put 6 implants on the top and 6 on the bottom. I go home that night and I take ibuprofen and I sleep. My wife put the stuff on my face, the ice on my face, keep the swelling down. I went back that next afternoon and they put these in my mouth, and I was stunned at how tight they felt. So when they put my implants in, they were designed for me, and they fit what I thought was perfectly. Oh my gosh, how in the world? And I, I had never experienced that. I used to have, when I had my old teeth, doctors wanted me to floss and things. My teeth were so crooked and broken, you couldn't do that. You couldn't find a place to do that. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at a set of teeth that in 24 hours not only fit in my mouth, but fit perfectly. The concept was up against people that said, we're going to give you new teeth in about 10 to 12 months, and we're going to change them every couple of months. And and so you'll have multiple appointments during that time. What those people are doing is they're basically putting a denture in your mouth. And what I knew when they put my teeth in, these things are strong. I can put this in my hand. I can get the strongest person I know to squeeze that thing, and they don't budge at all. So again, it's Nuvia's bottom line thinking is honest, and every step along the way for me validated that was true. So in 24 hours, I had these. I just had pretty white teeth that I'd never imagined having, and it took 24 hours to get it done.
And like
Jiminy Christmas.
right. And like you said, since they are your permanent teeth the next day, you don't know if you went the other route, like you said, if something goes wrong, who knows if that is another added fee? Who knows, and like you're saying like it's still one and done, right? And
Yep.
I think the other cool thing I learned is that, one of the reasons that makes it possible for the 24-hour teeth is because at Nuvia they have their own in-house lab, right? That is creating the teeth overnight. And so with the ability to control the quality and the cost, it allows the savings to fall on the patient there, right? They're not being sent over somewhere else, and who knows what cost will go into that. It's in-house, it's made overnight, you get in the next day. So I just wanted to point out that's another portion of how some savings could be passed on to you guys.
And the reality of Nuvia is that process of making a set of teeth for one person on the planet is literally staggering to me. That they took all these pictures of me the day before. I go home, I come back, and from those pictures, those folks put a set of teeth in my mouth that fit perfectly. And I'm thinking, well, I'm just the most special human on the planet to have that done just for me. And the reality is that is the model for Nuvia. They do that. And one thing I didn't get the chance to back then, I don't know if it's still this way, I would have loved to have seen the sculptor of my teeth, the person that put these together. I would have just loved to have given them a big hug and say thank you for that, because all the people helping, and then you get this person that no one really knows about, and they spend the night putting together these beautiful teeth, and they deserve a hug from me, maybe for the rest of their life, every day kind of thing.
It's like a piece of art, right? Every piece of art is different. Your teeth wouldn't fit in my mouth.
Yep.
Like it's one of a kind piece of art.
And staggering, again, because I don't know if there's anything on the human body that takes more um, resistance than our mouth. I can kick a football and twist a knee or do something. I'm using these choppers constantly all day long. And from the moment they put them in my mouth, they've worked 3.5 years later. I'm sorry, folks. If there's something better than that, no, I wouldn't believe it. It's just staggering.
Can you kind of briefly talk about how they've lasted eating wise as well?
My first meal I wanted was I've spent a lifetime cooking what we call chalupas. They're chalupas. It is just hard tortilla with a bunch of stuff on top of it. Those hard tortillas are crunchy. I like those. That was my first meal, was to be able to take those and just bite into them, and steaks, corn on the cob, apples. And I do this still. I'll have an apple every now and then just to prove that my teeth still got it.
Oh,
And
that's great.
that is just the funniest thing.
Okay, well, let's get to the last section. Now let's hear about some cost questions straight from our audience. So it's time for You Ask, They Answer. These questions come straight from the Nuvia Smile Maker Club Facebook community. So let's dive into question number 1. Nancy said, do they take insurance?
My understanding is insurance companies see dental implants, full dental implants, as cosmetic. And so typically they don't. My insurance company did not at the time. Nuvia went out of its way to help me find a way to pay for it and do what I needed to do to get it done.
You can always try to contact, your insurance and see what your options are. But yeah, like Duncan said, it's good thing is that Nuvia does provide those, financing options. So April says, "Hi everyone, beautiful smiles. I would love to figure out how to do this and afford it. I have beautiful dimples that just aren't seen anymore. I've lost my confidence. I hate cameras, on and on." What advice would you give to April thinking maybe, I might not be able to afford this?
Well, I think for a lot of us, the notion of full dental implants is scary. It's fearful, anxiety ridden, and for many of us, we don't imagine we could do it without taking the steps to find out. Some folks may have um, some history of financial struggles in their past that might make it difficult for them. Um, I just listened to a person talk about they were a smoker for 25 years and they decided to stop smoking, and stopping the smoking uh, allowed that person to pay for his implants. And and if there's anything you do that costs money that's habitual, if you decide to stop that, that can be a wonderful tool for you to use. There's really a lot of things to do. The bottom line is, are you willing to invest in yourself? And if so, then your next path is, what can I do to either clear up my credit score, save for this? What can I do? And instead of having that money going out from you, whether it be your kids or elderly family members or whatever the case may be, look in the mirror and say, I'm worth this too. And I'll find a way to get it done. And Nuvia will help me do that.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned that video about Sean. And if those are watching and you're curious about how Sean quit smoking to be able to help him afford dental implants, you can watch that video over here. If you have more questions about the cost, maybe what this could look like for you, you can download the dental implant cost guide in the description below.